Hey Quilter Bees, I am Mitzi Schaefer from Jittery Wings Quilt Company, and I am so excited that you are here for the start of the Tambo Star Quilt pattern Quilt Along. It is going to be a phenomenal quilt along. I cannot believe the number of people who have signed up. And friends, we're going to get started by choosing our fabrics together. I know this is the scariest part for some of you because I get lots of messages and emails from you asking for help. I will say that because my patterns do require a lot of fabrics and color flow, Jittery Wings has started sharing curated bundles that I've curated, and you can make this easy on yourself if you want and go and purchase one of those and just get started. But if you want to be all in and you want to choose your own fabrics, today's video is for you. This video will apply to all of my controlled improv patterns. So the process that I walk through today, and I'm going to do the most detailed version I've ever done today, this is what you need to make any of my patterns. So let's get started. You'll notice that my patterns, especially my controlled improv patterns, call for solids, blenders, or small prints without distinct dots or stripes or patterns inside of the fabric. And the reason for that is because my patterns themselves are the design. And when there are small prints or dots or even large prints, it's hard for the brain to read the pattern that is developed from the quilt design itself. So I have here a variety of fabrics directly from my stash. You can tell because I have them on these little comic book boards. I love all these fabrics, but that doesn't mean that they work in my patterns. So let's start with prints. How do we decide if a print is going to work? So I'll start with this one. I love this print. I think it is one of the most phenomenal designs that Melody Miller has done. In my patterns, however, what I find is that when I take a ruler, the block size, so in this case, it's about 4.5 inches, and I lay it on top of the fabric, what I realize is that it doesn't read a single color inside of here. And because of that, it will cause the brain, when it looks at the final pattern or quilt, to not know where to look. It becomes a distraction in the design. So one of the things I like to do, again, is just lay this down. You can also just take your fingers and make, like a little football or a photo window and see. This snake, lovely as he may be, is gonna really lead the eye in a different place in the pattern. So this one I would say is out. Let's look at this one. Now, this reads purple, and these little dots are also purple. However, when I look at this, I don't see a single color. I see all these little dots. And whether they're stars or not, from far away, this is what my brain is going to see, is the little dots. So in my patterns, I would not use this fabric either. Same here. These are different colors, and if I lay them next to each other, it's the same concept. Even though these are different colors, the color contrast is significant enough, different enough, that I see these little dots. And here I see the birds and the little spots. And so I would not use either of these in my pattern. These two are interesting in and of themselves. They are not the same color. They don't read the same color. I have to decide, is this pink or is this purple? And here I've got a couple different pieces going on. This also has some direction to it. And if I cut this out into a small piece, I can't decide what color it's going to be. And because of that, it doesn't fit in color flow. And so these are also prints I would not use in this pattern. Okay, now here we have some print going on. We have some design going on inside. And what's important about this is that the contrast here is not as strong as the contrast here. So in this case, if I needed a black or even a lighter gray, this one I probably would choose. If I lay a little block here, it feels like one color to me. If I lay a block here, I can see all of the dots, okay? Same with this one. These are light enough, the contrast is close enough that I probably would be okay using this one. Now these beautiful little roses and this guy here from, I think this is Allison Glass maybe. These pink spots, cool as they are, in my patterns are gonna stand out pretty harshly. And same here. All I'm gonna see are these little dots and they're gonna pull my eye away. And then here we have another tone on tone. And if I move this around, that the contrast is close enough and light enough that it's not going to draw my eye. So this is a blender that I would feel okay using in my pattern. Now let's talk about selecting the colors themselves. And I have this fun little box that I use to curate my bundles, actually. You can probably see one right here on the top where I left everything together because I just finished creating it and ordered some new fabrics. So what I've done is I purchased from Art Gallery their Pure Solids color chart. And I actually cut all these little guys off and I glued a piece on the back so I would know what color they are. Now you certainly don't have to do this. If you imagine yourself in a fabric shop and you start to look for colors, I usually start with a color I really like. I walk around until I find a beautiful color that stands out to me, and then I build off of that color. So I'll start adding other colors to it until I find the right combination. You may have an idea in your head. Oh, I want all greens, or I want the full rainbow, or I want all blues, or I want pink and orange. However that works out for you, whatever you're trying to accomplish, maybe because of the person you want to make the quilt for, start there. But then we have to figure out which colors actually go together. So in this case, I want a quilt that is going to be light. And so I'm going to start by grabbing some lighter colors. And I have a lot of them here. They have a little hint of something in them. And I think this is actually a good way to learn about color. So each of these is a light contrasted color, but they all have a little hint of something in them, because if it's not pure white, it's got to have something in it to make it not white. So here we have snow, and snow is one of my favorites. It is white. It is maybe what I would consider the purest white in my little bucket here. And if I take these two, for example, here, actually, let me do these three, okay? I've got three different lighter pieces. If I lay pink next to this, I can really see that it's green. If I lay pink next to this, I can see that it has some pink in it. If I lay pink next to this, it makes it start to feel a little bit orange. So this has some pink in it. This has some green in it, and I can see that if I start putting greens next to it. If I start putting some pinks next to this. And then this actually has a little bit of yellow, I think. So let me see. I have to try it and see, or maybe it has some orange in it. When fabric designers design their fabrics, they actually mix and blend colors on the computer to get to the color that they want. And they don't just add black or white to something. They add lots of variations of different things to the fabrics. So here, if I start with this, let's say I'm in the fabric shop and I really want some lighter colors in my quilt. And so I pull these 3 colors. And I promise I'm just making this up with whatever is here in front of me. And I still have a whole box of fabric shop fabric bolts here that I can choose from if I decide what I pulled to start with doesn't work, okay? So I've got these here, and I'm looking at them and I'm wondering, okay, do these work? So when you pull them, let's just say you start pulling a whole bunch of fabrics and they're in like all these weird order because you just was like, oh, I like this one and I like this one and I like this one. And so when I pull these out here, I'm like, oh, okay. I'm not sure how that feels. I think I also want some darkers. So I'm going to grab a darker green and I'm going to grab a darker pink because I want pink and yellow and green in my quilt. Okay. So I'm grabbing pinks and yellows and greens. Oh, look at that. All these colors. Okay. Right now, we can decide, does this look good or not? And actually, I'm just going to grab a couple more random here. I'm just walking around, grabbing all the colors that I like, whether they work together or not. Okay, so here's my pull. I pulled all these fabrics out, and the fabric shop is like, whoa, what is this lady doing? I usually get lots of looks when I'm in the fabric shop doing this. Okay, so when I talk about in the pattern, getting the colors that you think you want, and then putting them in Roy G. Biv order, this is what I mean. So I'm going to take each color individually, and I'm going to say red. Okay, that's red. Orange. Yellow, right? Roy. There's my Roy. Green for G. Blue. Well, I kind of have a blue. And an indigo is more like a bluish purple. And then a violet is like a pinkish purple. Okay. So here we go. We've got Roy G. Biv. And actually, I'm just going to grab this one because I think it's a little more violet or indigo. Sorry. Okay. All right. And then to just for simplicity, let's make a real blue there. Okay. And maybe like a closer green. I can't find one right now out of my little, oh, here, this one. This will be good because that. All right. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. So what I'm going to do now is take my fabrics and I'm going to sort them. And I just pulled a whole bunch of them out of this little box and we're going to see how they go. All right. So this feels more violet to me. So I'm going to put it there. We've got teal, which is green and blue. So I'm going to put it in the middle. This is kind of a peachy orange. So I'm going to put it here. I've got a neutral. I've got green, green He's kind of over here. Got red, purple, green. He's kind of yellow. Brown is a neutral. Purple, violet, green, yellow, green. I like greens. Can you tell? All right, this is a light green. That's one of the ones I started with. Got orange, yellow, purple, pink, peach, green. Okay, let me get my neutrals out of the way here. That's I don't know if you can see that, but that's like a purple, like a deep wine color. It's one of my favorites. That's a navy blue, green, peach, green. Boy, I do love green, don't I? Okay, this has some purple in it, but it also has some red. So what's going to happen is we're going to have to decide where it goes, but I'm going to put it here for now. Green. Okay, he's in the middle. He's kind of yellow, kind of green, but he leans a little more green. He's a hot pink, and we have a light pink. Okay, so now already this should start to feel a little better to you because they're in some kind of order. Now I have my Roy G. Biv. I have red, oranges, yellows, greens, blues, indigos, and violets. Okay, and then here are my neutrals. This neutral is here because it doesn't really feel like it fits. This one is here because, and this one because they have green and pink in them. Okay. All right. Next on my pattern, after putting them in Roy G. Biv order, is to start moving them from dark to light. All right. So I'm going to start here, and I like to go top down. So red, okay, dark to light. I can already see that the transition from this one to this one is pretty harsh. And after I'm finished, I'm going to go back and decide which ones stay. I have way more than I need. Okay. So now I'm going to do my orange. I'm just going to keep going. And these here have a little bit of something else in them. Like these are orange and these are more peach. And peach and orange are tricky. So for my brain purposes, I'm going to pull these separate. I'm going to say, here's my orange and here's my peach, light to dark. And this one is so bright. I need to decide. Next up, what I would do is decide, oh, was that the right order? Is that darker than that? And what's really happening is there's some other color in here that makes it stand out, kind of like this one. And so I'm making a mental note that there's an issue here with these colors. My brain's not quite digging it. All right. Now we've got yellow. And oh, here we have the same issue. We have kind of a brownish yellow, and then we have a more pure yellow, and then we have a green yellow. So we're going to have to decide again which ones stay. Same for our greens. So there are greens and there are teals, and there are greens with different colors in them. But I'm just going to start going light to dark here and see how it feels. I'm only trying to look at the contrast, like how much depth does it have in the color. He's up here somewhere. Okay, now to light. Now, boy, you can really see on this one that there's some different color greens going on. But again, putting them in this order for me really helps. So now I'm going to do the same thing with my blues, and whoo, he's He's intense, isn't he? My purples, and this one again, I can't decide which one is darker, but I'm going to keep them together. And then here are my kind of violets to reds, and violet goes to red in the, so I'm gonna tuck him under here. Okay, so now still not feeling super great. Still feels like there's something going on, like we're missing something here, and that's true. Your instincts are correct. So I'm going to say I need 24 colors. I have 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 45. So I have 45 colors and I only need 24. And this is what I would recommend you do. Start with way more color than you need instead of finding the next one and adding it and finding the next one and adding it. Because the next step I'm going to do is say, okay, am I committed to all of these colors? Because something's going on in my heart with these greens. I have so many greens. I do love green. But if I do want a pretty even spread of a full Roy G. Biv, then I know I've got to get rid of a lot of these greens, but then I've got to figure out what else is going on here. Okay. So the first thing I might do is start with what's standing out to me like it doesn't fit. All right. This doesn't feel like it fits. Now I'm not going to get rid of it. I'm going to put it over here and I'm going to tighten this up. And when I do that, I start to get a sense for, oh, is that little palette working? This one feels like it doesn't fit to me too. And honestly, I'm not digging that pink right there. So I'm going to do that. So I've got red. I like my oranges. The peaches, I feel like there's something going on with this one. It's super bright. And maybe I want a bright quilt, but maybe I don't. And then honestly, this one, I'm just not a fan of this color. So I'm going to pull that one and I'm going to see what that does. Oh, look at that. So when I pulled that color out, these two felt like they went together better. When I put it in, this one feels like it's standing out. So something about that feels better to my brain. And this feels really yellow, greenish. So I'm thinking it's going to be my tie, my jump to this next one. All right, now let's focus on these greens. One more, hold on. I'm going to pull that one out too. Okay, so now these are feeling a little bit better to me, okay? How about the greens? I know I want light colors, so I'm going to keep this guy. And what I'm going to do is start pulling out what I feel like is a harsh transition. So this feels a little harsh, but he kind of feels like he goes with him. And that's because he's got some yellow in him, like some lighter yellow. This one is feeling off to me too. And he doesn't work really there either. It's kind of a muted brown. So I'm going to pull him out. And then this guy up here feels like he works better. Oh, look at that. This is sort of an olivey brown run of greens here, okay? But these colors feel so bright and cheery to me that these don't feel like they fit. And so I'm actually, because I wanted that light color in there, that was my base color, I'm going to pull him over. And I just eliminated all of those greens because these colors feel happier to me like the rest of this palette does. There's a place for this, but it's not in this quilt, okay? All right, now this one is probably driving you crazy. You're probably going, Mitzi, pull that. And you're right, it's off. And now this one feels off. So what if I pull this up here?
And then, oh, maybe it works that way. Okay, that I'm digging. And this is green. It's hard to tell maybe on the camera, but if I put it next to blue and I put it next to purple, you can see better that it's green. And this is something I do a lot. If I'm not sure, especially on a darker color, which color it actually is, I put it next to some other colors and then I can better decide, because my brain can see those different color pieces. Okay, so now how many do I have? 3, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Oh, so now I have 27 colors. I need to lose 3, except I also still have these neutrals over here and I really want this white. So I'm going to get rid of these browns probably, but I am just going to lay them next to each of these and see how they feel. And actually, I kind of like how that one feels next to that. It does kind of give it a little bit of an extra tone, a different kind of tone to it. So if I lay my white here, actually I think it feels better there, or maybe, nope, it feels better there. Then, okay, so now I have 29 colors and I only want 24. When I look at this, I feel like I have 2 options. I need to eliminate 5 colors. I can lean into the peaches and the purples, but for me personally at this moment, I'm not really feeling the purples with this. So I'm gonna pull these indigos out and I'm gonna slide my violets down and I'm gonna see how that feels. And this is also where I'm gonna start putting them a little closer together so I can really kind of get a sense for how it feels. And in the fabric shop, I literally do this with the bolts. I find a space in the shop and I start stacking the bolts, and I'll stack here and here and here and start looking at them together. Okay, so now what are you screaming at me to get to remove? Is it this one? Because wow, yep, he needs to go. And I actually kind of am, now that that purple's gone and these are closer, I'm actually liking these peaches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Okay, so now I have 26. Tough decisions here. I did want this quilt to be lighter. And what I'm noticing is I'm down to only 3 lighter colors. And I really pounded some darkers up here. So I'm thinking that maybe what I'm going to do is pull these blues, because I'm also digging those greens. And that's how I'm going to get to 24. One other thing, this is a really close step here, and I do want something lighter in here. So here's another light that I had close by that I just grabbed. Here's another, like a more pure, that's that snow that I really like. And so maybe I'm gonna pull that one, and he goes there. And he goes there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 25. Okay, so now I have 25. And he is white linen. Yeah, he just kind of a yellow. But he also works there. I think I like him better there. And I think I'm going to pull that brown because I'm just having a lot of trouble getting rid of my greens. So you guys are like getting this huge window into my head right now because I'm actually talking to myself as I talk to you. And this is exactly what I do. This is how I find the colors that I want when I'm in the fabric shop. And sometimes people start to watch me. It's kind of weird. Okay, so I've got 24 colors and I'm looking at the other colors that I have on my board and I'm thinking, yeah, Oh yeah, there. So this one still felt like a little off to me, and it's because it has more blue in it, and I pulled those blues. See that if I lay this next to those blues that I pulled, it feels a little closer. Actually, it feels like it has some green. It went with those more. So, but I had another kind of more green light, and remember, I want some light colors in this quilt. So I just walked around the store and I found this one to replace it. Okay, so now I'm tweaking. And over here, this is still feeling a little dark to me too. And this yellow is still feeling a little off. So I'm going to start walking around the store and I'm going to see what else I can come up with that might be a lighter here that I can make this step a little tighter. That's too pink. That doesn't feel right. Needs to have like a little bit of purple in it. And I'm struggling, and sometimes that happens in a quilt shop. You struggle. Okay, so what if I got a lighter over there instead of over here, and I pull, nope, I think that's the one. Or, no, that's too bright. Okay, well, I won't spend a whole lot of time on this, but sometimes I can do this for a really long time at a fabric shop. All right, so now I've got my colors. Did I end up with 24? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay, 24. All right, so now I've got my colors. Roy G. Biv. I removed the parts of the rainbow that I didn't want, and I've got them from dark to light, and they're in order. And this guy is kind of like a peach here, which on the color wheel has some red and some orange in it, and so it kind of falls in between there. Okay, so now what I want to do is go from dark to light, light to dark, dark to light. So what I mean by that is I have to decide where the transition is going to be. So I'm going to go red, dark to light. Then these peaches are in the center, so I'm going to turn those, and I'm going to go light to dark. Okay, get these up here where you can see them really good. All right, now my next color is here, and this is sort of a darker medium. So I'm going to land my darker mediums. So I've gone dark to light, light to dark, medium, medium to dark. And now this is the darker. So I'm going to go dark. And these are really close in contrast, so not a huge deal. But these are darker than they are lighter. So now I'm going to grab my greens here and go dark to light. Oh, and now look, this is a huge transition from here to here. That is a huge transition. So in the scheme of things, this is now the color wheel just straightened out. So I can take my indigos, and because this is dark and this is dark, I can tuck them under here, and I can decide, does this work? It's medium to dark to medium to light, light to medium to dark, and then down. I'm not going from, let me do it this way. I'm not going from a light to a dark. That's color flow. If something is out of place with Roy G. Biv, it will stand out to you. Your brain will go, no, okay? If it's really out, your brain says that color doesn't work there. but it does work in this flow because we proved it. All right. So when you put them in light to dark order, dark to light. Now I started with the red high, but what if I had switched it? What if I had done light to dark this way? And then I had these peaches. And this, I had this, I'm going to pull this white out because he's neutral. And I'm going to pull this white out because he's neutral. So now I'm at light, but I don't have a light orange. So if that's the case, sometimes you realize you don't have the right transition. It's too contrasting. So that tells me if I went that way that I'd need to put something else in there to get that transition. So just by making that one little step, my brain's like, oh, that fits. And then I can continue with where I was, except these are all the opposite. I need to switch there. There we go. Okay. Now, now what about these guys? Because they were next to this, and this is light and this is light. So now I don't have a real good transition. Or wait, do I? Oh yeah, actually that works right there. So I could even, now I can tuck this guy under here, and I added this light peach. So I kept my light feel, and I can pull this white one out and still have the same Roy G. Biv, but it feels different. It feels different because these oranges and yellows and blues are next to each other in a different way than they were, or green, that's green, sorry. They're next to each other in a different way. And so it feels completely different than the first round. So this is how you keep things in flow order, okay? When we start talking about matching up our pieces, there are images in the pattern where I might say, line them up. I don't have a second row of this, but if this is the second row, right, or if this is the first row, and I have cut my pieces and I have two of everything, then I've got the first row and the second row. I can imagine an arrow going from one to the other, or I can just offset them all by one and take this one on the end and put it over here. And those are my color matches when I'm trying to match up for my half square triangles or for my straight strip blocks.
Okay, quilt friends, I hope you found that tutorial very helpful when choosing colors. Again, think about the color flow, the light to dark, putting things in Roy G. Biv order, looking to see if there's a hint of one color inside of the fabric that you've chosen by laying it next to other colors to see what makes it pop. And have fun with it. Start with more colors and eliminate, but really have fun with it. Ask somebody else, walk away from it, take a picture of it. There are lots of ways to check, but if you're going, trust that gut because your brain is letting you know that something is off there. For me, for this Tambo Star version, I am going to be using bundles 10A and 10B. They go together. I know I'm going to be asked, and so I wanted to go ahead and let you know this is what I'm going to be using, and I cannot wait to start cutting into these. So I will see you in the next video when we talk about cutting our fabrics, and I'll let you know some tips and tricks for efficiency. Thanks for being here. I so appreciate you all. Have a good day.